didn't have an active community garden here. We'd had some gardening stuff in the past, and then I started getting involved here, and I was like, oh, this just feels like a community garden, it should be a community garden. And so we were looking for how to do that, and we got in touch with Sow the City and heard that they had this network where they could offer all this additional support, which is great because we don't know what we're doing. So we filled in the application, and now here we are.
I think as an organisation, Growing Manchester has helped us with the expertise that we didn't have around horticulture and growing. So Healthy Me, Healthy Communities works in tackling health inequalities, and one of the main areas that we identified was lack of access to green space and how that would better support people's mental health journeys. But we don't have the expertise in how to maintain and grow a community space. So being part of Growing Manchester has really helped us on that aspect.
All of us have been around gardening and been interested in gardening, but haven't necessarily formally learned anything.
And I have not really gardened at all before this. We have had some advice and some facilitated sessions on designing the garden and engaging people and learning how to grow vegetables. We had a 4-week growing vegetables course here. We also had bits and bobs of advice that turned out to be incredibly relevant for this garden. We're quite clueless, and also, like, I think most people who garden in their backyards or whatever don't think about this as an issue, but Sow the City told us about the risk of lead pollution, and we did some testing here and found out that we're actually on quite a polluted site. Being part of Growing Manchester has been really helpful because it's like told us about that, which means that we can now garden a lot safer here.
It gets people outside, it starts conversations about growing, about seasons, about weather, it encourages people to make friends, it gets people out their houses, reducing socialisation. We have a great time wandering around, looking, smelling, tasting, just being outside.
Having the benefit of other people's expertise is really, really useful from that Growing Manchester network at Sow the City. In any garden group, there'll always be some people who are really good with the veg side, and maybe some who are good with the infrastructure and the buildings, whatever. But it can be hard to get all of that knowledge and all those skills in one particular group. Having a place or a network you can reach out to and just use their experience is actually really useful as well, because there's a huge amount to know regarding running a garden or being involved in a big community garden.
I think that a lot of growing spaces start off with one person and their idea of how to improve that space, and quite often they don't have the skills or knowledge or maybe resources to be able to make that happen. Being part of a network like Growing Manchester means that you don't have to do it yourself and start from the beginning, because all of that level of knowledge and expertise is in the network, and you can really learn from other people who've gone through that process already, and that would help you to be able to get through that journey a lot quicker yourself as well.
I think it's a really good idea for groups to join the network, because it's basically a resource hub and a skills hub as well, in terms of who you can access to ask questions that you might have about running or maintaining a community site. It can make you feel a bit less alone in terms of the vast number of things that there are to consider when trying to run a site like this, whether it's on the veg side or getting people involved. There's a lot to think about, but there are people in the Growing Manchester network who have experience of one or the other or both, and it can be really useful to draw on that and feel part of something bigger as well.